Hello, welcome back to the channel, and thank you for tuning in. Today we're going to look at a very unusual case that has caught the attention of both the police and the public. It involves a Zimbabwean truck driver who allegedly tried to smuggle large quantities of Benylin cough syrup across the border, only to abandon his truck and disappear when things took a turn. Please listen right until the end so you can hear the sources of this news and try to verify it for yourself. And if you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that button so you don't miss any of these updates. Now, smuggling cases are not something new in South Africa, but what makes this one quite strange is the product that was being smuggled. Usually, when we hear about smuggling, it involves things like cigarettes, illegal alcohol, stolen goods, or even sometimes livestock. But in this case, the focus was on Benylin cough syrup. Yes, you heard right, cough syrup. This has become one of the substances in high demand across certain communities because it is reportedly being abused by some people as a recreational drug when consumed in large quantities. And because of that, there's a growing black market around it, making it more profitable for smugglers. According to officials, the truck was stopped for routine checks when the driver apparently realized that he was in trouble. Instead of facing the authorities, he abandoned the truck and disappeared on foot, leaving the vehicle loaded with boxes of Benylin. By the time officials got control of the truck, the driver was nowhere to be found. His sudden disappearance has now triggered a full-scale hunt by the police, who believe he may still be hiding somewhere close to the border or possibly trying to get back into Zimbabwe. The police have been very clear that this type of smuggling is not only illegal but also dangerous. Benylin and other codeine-based cough syrups are controlled substances, meaning they should only be available with a doctor's prescription. But in recent years, the abuse of codeine syrup has become a growing problem, particularly among young people. It's sometimes mixed with soft drinks to create a cocktail that gives a sedative or intoxicating effect, and this trend is spreading quickly in South Africa. So when smugglers bring it into the country in large quantities, they are basically feeding into that demand and putting more people at risk. What makes this even more concerning is the fact that the truck was loaded with more than just a few bottles. We are talking about large quantities, which points to an organized operation rather than just one man acting alone. Authorities believe the driver may have been part of a bigger network that supplies cough syrup to dealers who then sell it illegally in townships and cities. If that is true, then this bust is only scratching the surface of a much bigger problem. For the community, it raises some very important questions. How many of these trucks have managed to cross without being caught? How many liters of this cough syrup are already out there in circulation? And most importantly, who is profiting from this trade? While police are focused on tracking down the missing driver, many South Africans are calling for tougher action on these networks and more surveillance at the borders. The reaction online has also been strong. Some people say the driver's disappearance shows that smugglers often know the risks and are ready to vanish at any moment. Others believe that without stricter controls at the border, these kinds of cases will keep happening. There are even those who feel that the government should do more to address the demand for codeine syrup by regulating pharmacies more tightly and running awareness campaigns about the dangers of abusing it. After all, when there is demand, someone will always try to supply it. Police have urged anyone with information about the missing driver to come forward. They've also reassured the public that the truck and its contents have been seized and will not make it onto the streets. At the same time, investigations are continuing to establish exactly where the consignment was headed and who the intended buyers were. There's also a possibility that more arrests could follow if the police are able to track the network behind the smuggling attempt. The story also touches on a wider issue of how porous our borders are. Every year, there are reports of goods moving illegally between South Africa and neighboring countries, from fuel and cigarettes to food and even counterfeit medicines. The fact that cough syrup has now become part of that trade shows how creative smugglers can be in finding ways to make money. It also highlights the need for better cooperation between countries to stop these illegal movements before they cause bigger social problems. And while the search for the missing driver continues, the case serves as a reminder of just how far people are willing to go to make money, even if it means risking arrest and abandoning their livelihoods. A truck is not something small you can hide. The fact that a driver could walk away from such a valuable vehicle tells you how serious the consequences must have been once he realized what was about to happen. It also leaves us with a bit of irony. Normally, cough syrup is supposed to make people feel better, but here it has landed someone in deep trouble and could end up making communities sicker if it had reached the wrong hands. Maybe next time, instead of smuggling Benylin, that driver should have stuck to smuggling. I don't know, maybe something less suspicious, like boxes of oranges. At least then the police would only have been worried about vitamin C, not codeine. On a lighter note, if he is hiding somewhere and watching the news, he must be the only person in the country right now wishing for a cough syrup advert to appear on TV, just to remind him what he left behind. So, as this story unfolds, we'll be keeping an eye on whether the driver is found and whether police uncover more about the network behind the smuggling. That brings us to the end of today's update. Please remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It helps us keep bringing you these news updates. All images used in this video are for illustration purposes only. Sources for this news include the South African, Times Live, and Eyewitness News.